Hi everyone, welcome back to another session of Bhagavad Gita. We completed introduction last time, and between introduction and the chapter 1 of Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada has given us Gita Mahatmya. Gita Mahatmya is glorification of Bhagavad Gita. So it is helping us understand what are the benefits we will receive by reading of Bhagavad Gita. So, what we will be covering today and in our next session is Gita Mahatmya, the glories of reading Bhagavad Gita. So, stay tuned as this will motivate us and inspire us to read Bhagavad Gita because we understand the importance of Bhagavad Gita and the words spoken by Krishna and their potency by reading Gita Mahatmya. So let's go ahead and read. So we are doing the Gita Mahatmya section of Bhagavad Gita, which is right in between introduction and chapter 1. If you're following hardbound Bhagavad Gita, it's page number 28. Before we go there, we will do a quick recap of what we did in our previous session. So, we covered last session 9 processes of devotional service, where Prahalad Maharaj is talking to his father Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu asks Prahalad Maharaj, what is the best thing you have learned until today? And the 5-year-old boy, Prahalad Maharaj, is telling his father that the best thing I have learned is the 9 processes of devotional service: hearing, chanting, remembering, serving the lotus feet of the Lord, worshipping the Lord, offering respects to the Lord, serving the Lord in the mood of a servitor, serving the Lord as a friend, and surrendering unto the Lord. Then we saw how to execute devotional service. We saw Bhagavad Gita 8.8, where Krishna says, remember me, meditate upon me, always remember me, and undeviated. When you practice like this, you will come to me. So that is how we are recommended to execute devotional service, always fixing our mind on thoughts, subject matters, instructions of Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. Learn from an experienced person. How to do it? We learn from an experienced person. We said, like anything, we learn from somebody who is practicing it. If I want to become a computer professional, I go join a course in a university or a college offering computer science degree. And when I enroll in that course, there are teachers in that college who help me to understand the subject matter and learn it and master it. So, similarly, we learn the principles of Bhagavad Gita from the experienced persons who have been practicing and implementing them in their own lives. Agenda for today is we will be covering Gita Mahatmya 1, 2, 3, and 4. In total, there are 7 verses in Gita Mahatmya glorifying Bhagavad Gita. So we will be covering 4 today and we will be covering the remaining 3 in our next session. Starting with prayers. Om Ajnanatirmirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha I offer my respectful obeisances unto my spiritual master, who, with the torchlight of knowledge, has opened my eyes which were blinded by the darkness of ignorance. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. My dear Lord, and the spiritual energy of the Lord, kindly engage me in your service. I am now embarrassed with the material service. Please engage me in your service. Gita Mahatmya 1 says, if one properly follows the instructions of Bhagavad Gita, one can be freed from all miseries and anxieties in this life, and one's next life will be spiritual. So, we all encounter miseries and anxieties in our life. Some of the examples of miseries are, we don't want to become old, but we all become old one day. We never want to become diseased, but we all fall sick someday or the other. Anxieties in in today's time, we are seeing, due to COVID, so many people lose their jobs, and there is so much anxiety in the heart that, oh my gosh, what's going to happen next? We don't know. It's such a difficult time. And the recommendation Prabhupada is giving us in the Bhagavad Gita in the form of Gita Mahatmya is, if we can read and follow the instructions of Bhagavad Gita, then we will be free from all the miseries and anxieties in this life, which is very promising. Also, one thing I was thinking is, it adds saying, and one's next life will be spiritual. A conditioned soul, we are very short sighted. We can see only this life and we can think of only this life. Sometimes we cannot think beyond today. But Prabhupada very mercifully here is telling us that when you follow the instructions of Bhagavad Gita in your this life, your advantage number one is, in this life you will become free from miseries and anxieties. And guess what? You have a topping on top of it. What's the topping? The topping is advantage number two. Your next life will be spiritual. This is the greatness and the far-sightedness of a spiritual personality, which is Krishna. He can give us solutions that will not only eliminate misery and anxiety from our this life, but which is focusing to improve our next life automatically. Gita Mahatmya 2 says, if one reads Bhagavad Gita very sincerely and with all seriousness, then by the grace of the Lord, the reactions of his past misdeeds will not act upon him. Which is very interesting. Sometimes we all are in some situation which is not a very good situation. And we sit back and think and say, hey, I have not done anything bad to anybody in this life. Then why is this thing happening to me? And we say, oh, maybe this is my past misdeed. Something that I should have done in my previous life, the reaction of that, I am getting it today. So here, Krishna is saying, if one can read Bhagavad Gita sincerely with all seriousness to understand and apply it in one's life, then what's going to happen is, because the words of Krishna are so potent and transcendental that they have the power to remove the reactions of all our past misdeeds. So, anything, any misdeed we would have done, not only in this life but in our previous lives, the reaction of that past misdeed will not act upon us, which is such a big blessing and boon for us, because we are in this ocean of material miseries where one thing after another is tossing us around like anything. And the solution Krishna is giving us is read Bhagavad Gita very sincerely with all seriousness and follow the instructions of Bhagavad Gita. I was remembering a story and I wanted to narrate the story before we move to our next slide. There was an old lady who would live close to a forest with her family, and they would live in a hut, and the way they would cook is they would collect firewood from the forest, light fire, and then cook their meals on the wood that they collect from the forest. So this old lady, she had a hunchback, and she would go every day to the forest to collect firewood so she can come light the fire, cook the meal for the family. One day, with her hunchback, she went into the forest to collect the wood. She collected all the wood. She placed the wood on her back, and as she was walking, the bundle of wood that she had collected fell off her back. And as the bundle of wood fell off her back, she called out, Govinda. And guess what? Govinda appeared. And Krishna, in the form of Govinda, appeared and asked the lady, Lady, what can I do for you? You call me, how can I serve you? And the old lady, she told Krishna, you know what? I'm very old and I have this hunchback, and I was taking this bundle of wood going to my home so I can light the fire and cook for my family. But you know what? This bundle of wood, it fell off my back. So Krishna said, yeah, what can I do for you? I can take away all your miseries, change your situation completely. Ask me, what do you want? And she said, can you please take the bundle of wood and place it on my back? And Krishna said, are you sure? The lady said, yeah. And Krishna put the bundle of wood back on her back, and she went with the bundle of wood to her home to cook the meal for her family. So sometimes Krishna, we call out to Krishna, Krishna comes, and we have to be very careful about what we ask him. When Krishna has the ability, the potency, the power to completely change our situation, but we just say, oh, you know what, Krishna, just put the bundle of sticks back on my back and I will go back and just fight with my miseries and my anxieties on my own. So moving forward, Gita Mahatmya 3. Gita Mahatmya 3 says, one may cleanse himself daily by taking a bath in water, but if one takes a bath even once in the sacred Ganges water of Bhagavad Gita, for him the dirt of material life is altogether vanquished. So we all know the experience of taking bath. We feel fresh and nice, motivated, encouraged to do things where once we take a bath, it's all fresh. And here, Krishna is saying the water of Ganges is very pure, and the words that are emanating from the lotus mouth of Krishna are like the water of Ganges. And if we take an internal bath in the words of Bhagavad Gita every day, then the dirt of material life is altogether vanquished. So, what is this dirt of material life? We all have desires, and there are some desires which take us away from Krishna. So, by reading of Bhagavad Gita, the dirt, which is the desires which will take us away from Krishna, those desires get removed from our heart. Krishna himself removes them from our heart when we sincerely and seriously engage in the reading of Bhagavad Gita. So he's saying the dirt of material life is altogether vanquished. Gita Mahatmya 4 says, because Bhagavad Gita is spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one need not read any other Vedic literature. One need only attentively and regularly hear and read Bhagavad Gita. In the present age, people are so absorbed in mundane activities that it is not possible for them to read all the Vedic literatures. But this is not necessary. This one book, Bhagavad Gita, will suffice because it has the essence of all the Vedic literature, and especially because it is spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, Bhagavad Gita and the words of Bhagavad Gita are very potent. And here, Gita Mahatmya 4 is telling us there are a bunch of Vedic literatures available. And Bhagavad Gita is the essence of all the Vedic literatures. So there is no need that one goes and reads other Vedic texts. If one is reading the Bhagavad Gita, one is getting the essence. So any amount of literature that's available in the world, including other Vedic literatures, Gita Mahatmya 4 is telling us no need to read any of those. If you can read and understand and apply Bhagavad Gita in your life will be successful. So, because we have a short life, we should not waste our life reading unnecessary literature which will not help us in our journey towards Krishna. So, the focus here, Gita Mahatmya 4 is bringing that reading of Bhagavad Gita is enough for us to take us back home, back to Godhead, because they are words of Krishna spoken by Krishna. They have the potency to pull us from this material world and situate us in the spiritual world. We would like to review application point number 1, chanting of the holy name. What helps us in continuing our reading of Bhagavad Gita and understanding of Bhagavad Gita is chanting of the holy name of Krishna. Krishna and his name are non-different. So when we are chanting the holy name, we are calling out to Krishna for help, that please help me understand your instructions that you have given in Bhagavad Gita. So our application point number 1 is take 10 minutes every day. If we are not already chanting the holy name, then please take 10 minutes every day. And all of us, let's try to chant the Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This mantra will help us and enable us, give us the intelligence and ability to understand and apply the instructions of Bhagavad Gita in our life. Our application point number 2 is take 10 minutes every day and read Bhagavad Gita. If any of us do not have access to a physical copy of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavad Gita is available online at vedabase.com. You can access the online copy of Bhagavad Gita, and to apply this application point number 2, you have the copy available with you. Summary: we discussed Gita Mahatmya 1. Gita Mahatmya 1 tells us that the words of Krishna have the potency to take us out of the anxieties and miseries of our life today and give us a life which is spiritual in our next lifetime. Gita Mahatmya 2 tells us that the words of Krishna spoken in the Bhagavad Gita have the potency, when we take it seriously and sincerely and read it, to help us overcome the reaction of our past misdeeds. Gita Mahatmya 3 tells us that the words of Krishna are very potent as the water of the Ganges. And if we can take an internal bath in the words of Bhagavad Gita every day, then it has the ability to take away all the dirt in our heart, the desires that take us away from Krishna. It can take away that dirt from our heart and set us on a path towards Krishna. Gita Mahatmya 4 tells us that the words of Bhagavad Gita are very potent, and if we can read and remember these words of Bhagavad Gita, then they have the potency to, because they are spoken by Krishna, there is no need for us to read any other Vedic literature, because Bhagavad Gita is the essence of all the Vedic literature, and it is enough for us to go back home, back to Godhead, and make our life perfect. Please feel free to send me any text, questions if you have. I will be happy to answer. Thank you so much for being with us and watching all the videos. It's very encouraging to receive all your comments and questions throughout the introduction of Bhagavad Gita. I hope we continue to have a relationship and exchange questions and answers and share our understandings and discoveries and realizations with each other as we go forward in this journey of Bhagavad Gita together. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna. Have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe and we will meet again next time. Hare Krishna.